Stop financing terrorism. Join Terror-Free Energy Coalition. Visit www.terrorfreeoil.org.
The race is on for 2008, and Republican Senator John McCain is hoping his star power will give life back to the GOP. Senator McCain took the first official steps towards a presidential bid, filing papers earlier this week to establish an exploratory committee. But does he have a big roadblock in his way? For insight on just how Senator McCain may run his campaign and what is that roadblock, I'm joined right now by Joel Mowbray, a syndicated columnist and reporter for the National Review. Joel, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I hope you are too. And let's talk politics, because we're talking about GOP conservatives here, right? Is that the roadblock?
Yeah, well, look, the conservatives don't trust McCain, and there's a good reason for that. They don't know what he's going to do. This is a guy who had a lifetime American Conservative Union rating in the high 90s. I believe around 95, 96% back in 2000, and since then he's dropped over 15 points in that rating. In like 2004 he was down in the 70s. The guy changes on a lot of things, especially tax cuts, which is a huge issue still to the base.
So why do you think overall it is that there's that kind of a drop, though? I mean, the tax cuts, is that it?
No, it's not just tax cuts. It's gun control. It's a whole range of issues. Look, John McCain has kind of figured out how to be a maverick, how to get the most media attention, and I think that's what many conservatives suspect, is that he's driven less by principle and more by ambition, that he's figured out a way to kind of left of in certain issues and grab the headlines. Of course, McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform being the most famous example of that.
But Joel, don't you think that the voters and even the GOP itself might think they have the best chance of putting a Republican in the White House if they appeal to the center?
Well, they might, and they might still support McCain. I don't think it's out of the question that McCain can win over conservatives. Remember, this guy is still conservative on a lot of things, but he has to reassure conservatives that he is one of them, because he's tried very hard to not be one of them for a while, and now the charm offensive is on, and he's trying to win over the base.
And do you think McCain could win without the vote of the conservatives? Because who else would they vote for? And do you think they'd vote Democratic, or do you think they would just not vote at all?
Well, yeah, people stay home. That's what the lesson that the Republican Party learned after they won in 1994, is because they had a surge in voters, and then the turnout was suppressed in the following cycles, and the Republicans got smaller majorities, and then of course, you know, they won back some seats, and now they're out of power. And that's because of the moderates and the independents this time around, and that's someone that John McCain can appeal to and he can win over. But look, you have Rudy Giuliani, you have Mitt Romney, you have other people who are going for kind of the center-right audience as well. There's not a real true conservative in the race, at least who's viable.
Okay. And then how much do you think of an obstacle Rudy Giuliani can be?
Look, Rudy Giuliani, especially if national security concerns are paramount, he will win conservatives. He will also win, I think, a lot of moderates. Look, this is America's mayor. He's a guy who is the most trusted figure on terrorism. And so if that is playing in voters' minds in early 2008, I think Rudy Giuliani is probably going to be the presumptive frontrunner at that point in the GOP primaries. Although, look, McCain, his gambit right now is to get as much money as he can while still being seen as the front runner, because if you have that show of strength, you have that show of force, that will attract more of a following.
And are we going to see him shift on any of the issues over the next couple of years, you think?
With John McCain, who knows? I mean, this is what the guy does. But you know, look, give him credit. He's figured out a way to be very popular with the media, with moderates, with independents, and with some conservatives. The problem is he's just not consistent.
All right. I wanted to ask you about Mitt Romney, but Nick's telling me I must go. At least you got him in there. We know he's one of the contenders as well. Okay, Joel Mowbray, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Stop financing terrorism. Join Terror-Free Energy Coalition. Visit www.terrorfreeoil.org.